have a guest today. Hooray, a guest is joining us today. With us is Jane Atkinson. She is a business coach for professional speakers. You can learn more about her in our show notes below, but also you can go to wealthyspeaker.com. Jane, hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Welcome to the show.
Being thoroughly entertained by the three of you.
Already.
How super generous of you to say. Thank you.
Yeah. So Jane, can you kind of give us a quick elevator pitch of what it is you do through your business? What is it?
So I actually have been a business coach and an agent and like in this professional speaking industry. So out there in the world, there are people who are getting paid, in some cases, a lot of money to speak. And so you go to a big conference and there's somebody there delivering the keynote address or a workshop or whatever it might be. A lot of those people are getting paid. And so I found out about the industry about 30 years ago, and I have been, first I was an agent, worked for a speakers bureau down in Texas for about 6 years, and I've been a coach for the last 20 plus years for speakers who really want to earn more money and kind of build the business of their dreams.
Wow, cool.
Interesting.
So it's not, I mean, do you teach people about speaking on any particular topic, or is it just whatever they happen to be a professional in, sort of thing?
We do encourage people to pick a lane, and so that's kind of like try to become known for solving one problem. A lot of people will come to us and they can speak on like 5 or 6 different topics, and the goal is to really be an expert in one thing. Just like, in your industry, you don't want to maybe be a generalist and somebody who does everything. If you can come in and really specialize at one thing, that's how you get paid more.
Right. So you don't want to be the jack of all trades and a master of none.
Exactly.
So the big reason why I wanted to bring Jane in to talk to us today is because she has an online course that you can find at wealthyspeakerschool.com. And I know that everyone is always trying to get passive income, not to say that setting up an online school is passive by any means, but I mean, I would love to know more about it. And I'm sure some of our listeners, the sort of the business owners who listen to our podcast might also be interested in like, how did it start? And like, can you, if you're comfortable sharing some stats, from before and after, and so I guess just, at the beginning, like before you had your online business, how would you find new clients?
So originally I was a coach, and I don't know if you guys have given this any thought, but when you trade your time for money, you are at some point going to get maxed out in terms of how much your income can, because that's a straight up trade. Your calendar gets full. You can no longer grow. So I knew early on that I wanted to expand my revenue streams. And so we do still have coaching as one level of income. We also have our school, which is another form of income. And then we also have a mastermind. So we're just actually in the throes of reinventing yet again. So when we started with the school, oh my gosh, probably 10 or 15 years ago, the very first school I ever launched was a bit of a train wreck, really. I didn't recognize that professional speakers all needed to be heard. And so I had too many people, back then we were really just doing things on the phone and people weren't able to be seen or heard. And that was a bit of a problem. So that didn't work out very well. So we had to go iteration number 2, 3, 4. We're probably on number like 15 right about now. Mm-hmm. And so I have to say, we probably have it as close to being great as we're going to. Right now, we've gone from 0 students to 50 students, and our membership is $197 per month. And that's kind of our offering right now. We're getting ready to kind of offer the course only. If somebody wants to come in and just do the course, that'll be one price point. If they want to do our full school, and what that means is it'll be both the online course and our community. So you go out on a Facebook community and you gather support and you get to talk to other people and you get to come on. We have weekly calls for them that they can participate in on Zoom, and people are able to participate as fully or, as little as they want. And then we also have some upgraded, masterminds from there. So, we started and made all the mistakes. So ask me anything.
That's very cool. I like how you said you're on, like, you've been iterating through it. So it's like version 1, version 2, and maybe version 15 now.
Yeah.
So,
put a little V, in front of the thing so I would know, V 100.4.
Yeah. So for listeners, if it doesn't succeed at first, the key here is that you have to take what did work,
yes,
and try again to replace what was not working or improve on it. And I do have a question for you. So you're moving more towards online courses rather than in-person courses. What did you use for the online course component, technology-wise? Is it something that you had a web developer custom build, or are you using an online service geared at course creators?
So we started, I think this might have been the first one. There could have been one before it, but we started with LearnDash as our platform. And I have to tell you, we had a security breach, and one weekend, all of our users got hundreds of emails from us, and we couldn't stop it. So we found out that LearnDash didn't have a great back-end support in place, and we had to switch. So we have actually switched over to Thinkific, and Thinkific has a very strong support, and they have kind of the course element. They also offer the community element, but we don't use their community. We have kept ours out on Facebook just because it's got all the features that we really loved. You kind of get used to something and you try something new. It's like, I don't like it. So we backed off. So Thinkific is the way that we actually house the course itself. Now, one thing I want to say to your listeners to make sure of, everybody thinks that having a course is a great idea, but you have to make sure that you have the following to be able to go to them and say, hey, buy my course. Because let me tell you, putting bums in seats is a slog. It's a lot of work, and you've got to have a really good reputation. So I probably have out on my social reach is probably 20,000 plus, 25,000, maybe even 30. And so we're able to use that plus my marketing. I have an email list. We keep that pretty trim, maybe 7,500 people plus. Like, this is 20 years of a build of a customer base in order to put 50 people into the school.
So what you're saying is, if I wanted to launch a course tomorrow, I would probably have 0 people. I don't have the big social media.
I don't know what your following is, Sean, and it's not necessarily social media. You just have to have people in your network waiting to see what you're going to do next.
Right.
Sean, if you include a T-shirt, especially a nice scooped neck ladies cut T-shirt, I will sign up for your course.
Oh, sweet. I do have another question for Jane. You said your marketing, and then you have your email newsletter and marketing. How much time do you spend on newsletters and marketing? Specifically, like, how often does your newsletter go out?
So we have had a system in place for over a decade where for the longest time we did a written blog post every Tuesday, and we did a podcast every Thursday. So we have a podcast as well. We've released that to our mailing list also. But we just, over the past, I've been starting to really look at, okay, how can I make my life simpler? I'm not really winding down, but I'm thinking about winding down. And so I've actually gone to 2 a month, of 2 Tuesdays a month. We do, and instead of doing a written blog, we now do a video blog, a vlog. And we do reels kind of in between on social media, and then we do the podcast twice a month as well now. So I
Excellent.
scale back somewhat.
That's excellent. Please share the links to us, and we'll include those in the show notes.
Okay, will do.
Yeah.
Jane, how big is the team that you're working with right now, and which do you think came first? Were you growing the team before you started the online course, or did you start doing that and think, oh, I'm gonna need some help to keep all of this up and running?
I think it happened really organically. So I have Monica, who's kind of my right arm, my left arm. She's on a beach in Mexico right now, so I really miss Monica.
Shout out to Monica.
Yeah, I just started her. Think about when you're growing your team to do it really organically. I started her with, actually, she was doing like hotel and live events for me. And then I put her onto podcast duty, and then we added the school to that. So her kind of things that she does for me really evolved and expanded over time. So that's Monica. Then we also have an entire tech team, and I count them as one, but there's probably 5 people that I work with on that team. So they do all my website development, they do all the back end. So in order to get paid, people come into our website, they make a purchase, that triggers Thinkific to give them a membership, but we're actually collecting the money through Thrivecart and Stripe, because we do both US and Canadian funds. So Stripe is really good with US and Canadian. That's been a mainstay. We used to be with WooCommerce, and now we've switched over to Thrivecart. So I know I'm talking all kinds of geek language here for you guys. It's way above my pay grade, I have to tell you. But you guys,
this is all good information. So we do have web developers who listen, and they will find it helpful for their own clients.
Yeah. Well, we've tried things, and so we're off of WooCommerce now, and we're onto Thrivecart, which my back end people say this is way better, and it's going to be really good. We also use ActiveCampaign. So when somebody comes into the school, and this just happened this morning, I'm kind of like just double checking that did all the triggers take place. So they get tagged, and we also have ActiveCampaign as our CRM. So they get tagged in the CRM, and they get sent into an automation, and the automation makes sure that they, do all the things that they need to do to get started. And then a separate thing comes out from Thinkific that allows them access to the course. So
right.
Sign them, and I poke around in there, but I wouldn't say I could go in tomorrow and start a campaign. I can add to the course, and I can do kind of some of the basic stuff myself. I can change my website myself using Elementor, but I'm not like you guys are way beyond where I am.
So the course that you offer, or courses that you offer, is it asynchronous so that anybody can sign up at any time and take the course at their own pace?
Yeah. We in my world call that evergreen. You can sign it up. And so what we're changing and evolving to is, if you just want the course, no support, no community, you can do that for like maybe $500. I want it to be a price point that's really, really good. And then we're going to be upselling them into the second option, which will be the course plus the community. And then from there, we'll be upselling them into the third option, which is the course plus the community plus the mastermind. And the mastermind gives them like private coaching and everything. And so my goal is to move them through those channels.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask if you could kind of give examples of features that you offer that over time you've realized, oh, we have to add that. We have to add X, Y, Z, or some new feature you had is like, oh, well, no one's really interested in this. Maybe we'll drop that. Can you speak about that a little bit?
100%. Engagement. Okay, so you get your course going. And so we actually have, when somebody gets registered, they get access to, I think it's like 7 or 8 different modules. And we have one that's just called Getting Started, and that kind of gives them the lay of the land. Then they move into this formula that we have called Ready, Aim, Launch. So Ready, Aim, Launch is really our system. It's what we talk about. It's what my books are based on. Everything is Ready, Aim, Launch. And so every time they finish one of these sections, we have a little celebration. So they get an email that has a fun, it's like
Funfetti.
the gift from the guys in the office with, doing the little happy dance or whatever it might be. And I take a screenshot of that and we put it out on Facebook and then we say, yeah, go, whoever, you're doing a great job. And so we're cheering people on at every stage. And then they also get a certificate when they're finished. So I think the engagement part is the part that I would really focus on. Like, how are you going to grab them when they get in there and kind of keep cheering them on along the way as they go through? An email is one thing, but I think like if there's something you can do to physically make them feel good about taking your course, that's going to be a game changer.
I really like that idea because any online course I've done, there's nothing until you finish it. And they all offer the certificate, but
Yeah.
I've only ever finished one course.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there was some confetti. And yeah, a certificate is so easy because that's just a checkbox on your platform, on your learning platform. That's really easy to offer. And we just try to make it. The other thing we've noticed is that when people go it alone, they're gonna have questions. So our goal is to get them from the self-study over into the community because, you're going to want to know some answers. And when you get stuck, you're going to want to have some encouragement to kind of get you off of stuck. So I would say the course community combo is probably pretty important, or it might be important depending on, what kind of course you're offering.
Right.
How does your community operate? Is it part of the website, or are you doing something like a Facebook group that's private?
Yeah, we tried. There's one called Mighty Networks. There's one built right into Thinkific. There's a community, and I didn't like either of them. Compared to Facebook, Facebook was just so easy. Now, there's the odd, we just ran a 5-day challenge, and I would say 1 out of 25 people that registered wasn't on Facebook and didn't want to be. And I'm like, okay, no problem. We'll accommodate you. We'll just figure it out. And so the community has a series of activities that are going on. So we have a weekly calendar and we're running Ready, Aim, and Launch calls throughout the month. We're running open Q&A calls. They also get access to master classes that we do. And so we're trying to really keep them engaged and keep them interested in what's going on this month. So at the beginning of the month, the calendar comes out and it says, here are all the things. They can subscribe to the calendar and get it all. Sean, you'll like this. Download it straight into their calendar.
That's a callback to something before we recorded. So Jane, the advantage you have with Facebook is there's more engagement than those other, like the Thinkific and something else that you looked at?
Mighty Networks. I know it's possible to get all the things you want somewhere. I just feel like, when you have something that I have so many changes all the time, let me just stick with one thing that's working. No change just for the sake of change. It would have been great to use Thinkific's community. I just didn't feel any vibe from it at all.
Well, it's not only you feeling the vibe, but it's also like your students, everyone's on Facebook all the time anyway. Why would you make them go and log into some other social media platform, like just for your one specific thing? Like it's easier to do something if you're already at the place. So yeah, I can see
I also
Facebook.
think that if your community is on Facebook, even if they're not active in your community, they'll still get posts showing up in their feed sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is a way to kind of passively draw them back.
Lure them back in.
Yeah.
Passive. Let's lure them.
Yeah. Jane, I think it's really interesting that you seem to be focusing on long-term membership and keeping people engaged, because I think a lot of people who start an online course would think of it as okay, you pay for this course, you've paid for it, you've succeeded, you've graduated, whatever, you're done, goodbye. And now I have to replace you with a new person. And it sounds like you're really trying to keep people engaged. Do you have any, first of all, is that true? And do you have any, tips to try to get people to think of their online courses as a way to keep people as a member rather than just thinking of recruiting new members all the time?
Yeah, and it's hard to recruit new members, and it can become very costly. We've done Facebook advertising, and we're going to actually do some LinkedIn advertising, which is even more costly. So we know that, it cost us $8 to get that new member. So our goal is to keep people. We have some members of our community that have been coming back and active with us for probably 3 years. Wow. That would be the average, but I would say if we could get people for a year, that we're really happy. And if we can move them into our mastermind, we also have some mastermind people that have been with us for 3 years. And nice. So the fact that, and I put a lot of the kudos for that on Jen, who actually runs the school and runs the mastermind all for me. And so she does the coaching on that. So I've taken myself out of the equation with the idea that I may sell the school at some point, and who I'll sell it to is Jen. So she's already got the relationships and everything. And so I'll just poke my head in the door once a month and hopefully collect the rewards.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. You've brought up mastermind a couple of times. Mm-hmm. I don't know what a mastermind is. I've heard it somewhere else. Can we, a really quick summary?
Okay, let me tell you. So a mastermind can be, us four get together twice a month and talk about our businesses. It could be like that. It could be very informal, okay. And some are really well run and some are, just, hey, let's hang out. And so our mastermind is very kind of formulaic. Of course, we have a plan, we get everybody's goals, and we spend a year with people. We typically will take no more than 30 people into our mastermind, and so each call we might have 10 people on a Zoom call. And we're really making sure that we're holding, those are called accountability calls. We're making sure that they are being accountable to their dreams and making sure that they're taking action. So you might be dragging your butt one week and you show up at your mastermind, it's like, okay, I got that kick in the butt I needed, and now I am moving forward again. We also offer with our mastermind, this is uncommon, we also offer them quarterly one-on-one coaching, so that they can really get to know. So Jen is the one that leads the coaching and she leads the accountability calls. And then I just pop in with them once a month and really make sure they're getting over any hurdles that are needed.
All right. So that's really cool. It sounds kind of like a 12-step program or a support group or mentoring, because you got the regular meetings with some structure.
It's a support group for making money, Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I want a support group for making money. I want to make more.
That's what it is. We actually call it Acceleration Academy, and the goal is for the people in our world who want to go from 0 to 100,000 in their speaking income. They're on the fast track to doing that.
Right.
Cool.
How specific do your students, I guess we'll call them, do they come to you and say, look, I'm speaking at such and such a conference next month, I want specific tips for that engagement? Or does it get that granular at all?
It can. And so mostly we're focused on, okay, how are you going to make more money from that engagement? How are you going to leverage that? So mostly we talk about the business building end of things, but oftentimes someone will come up and say, I'm really trying to workshop a new story and I'm struggling, and here's the situation, and we'll give them ideas on how to make their stories stronger. And so a really big part of marketing, we deal mostly with kind of sales and marketing, but a really big part of marketing is an epic speech. And so we have a lot of lessons inside the school on how to speak also, because it would be a miss if we didn't.
Right. Yeah, I've been to a few, well, we've all been to conferences, web conferences and that, where they have sort of a Toastmasters guy at the end giving the keynote, and to varying degrees of success, I guess. But I've seen some really, really good ones that have really impressed me. And I guess they're the type of people who would go and take a course from you, right? That's that kind of thing.
Toastmasters are the people who come to us in order to learn how to take what they already know, which is how to speak, and make money at it. So Toastmasters can help give people the foundations of a really good, strong speech. We have, like inside the school, we have lessons from people who have won the world championship of speaking in Toastmasters. And so then we help them learn to make money from that.
Wow, that's really great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I am wondering.
So, yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
No, you go ahead, Mike.
Nope, go.
Fine. This, of course, Jane, is going to depend on your comfort level, but I'm wondering if you have any measurable metrics that you would be willing to share with us from before your online program was set up to after, or like even early days to after. Like, I don't know if it's, maybe because of the online course, your personal billing rate went up, or you started with this many classes and now you've got this many classes. Just anything that but just before and after.
We love to talk money over here. So I am happy. My coaching fee has tripled or quadrupled, because as I get because working with me, being at the top of the pyramid here in my school, has become more and more exclusive. And so I actually raised my fee last time during COVID, like smack dab in the middle of COVID. And so we kind of tend to do things as fearlessly as possible. And it was just that I was due. And Jen, actually, who runs our school, she raised her fees during COVID too, just because we were due. And so the metrics, while we started out, we've had a lot of evolution in terms of what our price points were and how we charged for the school. And it was very convoluted at one point in time. We had the course separate. You had to buy that separately and then pay a monthly fee. And we've tried so many things that didn't work. So we're down to like a very simple, it's $197 a month if you want to join us in the school. It's $397 a month if you want to join us in the Mastermind. What we identified along the way was that the Mastermind was very, very profitable for us. The school is really like the
driving force.
Yeah, the driving force, the rainmaker for everything else. And actually, let me step back one more step for you. And I guess I don't have a copy of it right now. I have a new book coming out, and this will be it's my 6th book that I've written for the industry. And so it's going to be the last book. And all roads in the book lead to the school. And so this book will become the rainmaker for the school, I'm hoping, for the next 10 years. That's my goal, is that we just push the book. So we'll do Amazon ads in order to pump up the book sales and keep them going really, really strong. And that will become the rainmaker for the school.
Nice.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Did I answer your question, Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could we actually talk about sort of on the other side of that? Do you have any, if you don't mind sharing them, any really sort of, why did we do that? That was a total disaster kind of experience, like specific to the program itself, not necessarily details about what you do, but you know what I mean? Like that.
Great question, Mike.
Yeah, we definitely, the very first iteration, I don't know, had 100 people or something join. And back then there was no Zoom, there was no online, there was nothing. We were just on the phone talking about the business. And it was a train wreck because there were way too many people. Okay. So we recognized that perhaps we go a little bit smaller group. Now we can accommodate 100 people. it's not a problem at all. So that was one mistake. Not making sure that our platform had good security. That weekend we were sending out emails to all the people. That was a nightmare that we just couldn't stop. It was like a train, and we couldn't get it to stop. So making sure that you've got, some back end support and that they've got good security for hackers is really important. What else have we done really poorly? I would say when we had it so convoluted that you had to buy the school and then you had to join a monthly program, too complex. Make the path to purchase as easy as humanly possible. So
Frictionless approach.
Frictionless. So when we get our new pricing table in place, it'll be one of those ones where all the options are running down and then you have the check marks next to the things that you get. It will be, if you want to do DIY, it's $497. If you want to do the course plus the community, it's $197. If you want that plus Mastermind, it'll be $397. I'm hoping that is really, really seamless. And so we'll continue to get less words on our website. And here's something for everybody to remember. The whole top of the website, we're selling the dream. We're selling the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. We're not selling how many calls we have each week and blah, blah, blah. We're not selling the features. We're just selling the greatness that comes from living your dream as a professional speaker. And so that's what we're doing, the whole top of the website. Then we'll do the features and benefits on that pricing table so that people can really see that.
Yeah, it's the emotional argument at the top, and then it's the rational stuff at the bottom.
Exactly.
Well, you don't want to overwhelm people with here's all of the steps that we're going to make you do over the next 3 months. That's just going to petrify everybody.
Yeah, or make it sound like work,
Yeah.
right? So we want to be really clear on the idea that, they're going to get everything that they need to kind of follow this recipe for success.
Yeah.
I think that Jane's examples of things that she did wrong are incredibly helpful and beneficial to people who are looking to do the same thing, or in starting any sort of endeavor. Realize that you're going to make mistakes and you just have to iterate and improve on it going forward.
Mistakes are beneficial so long as you learn something from them.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
I got even a good recent one. So I'm at the final.
Oh, more mistakes.
I'm at the final stages for people who might be interested in writing a book someday. I'm at the final stages of my book, and it's been the hardest book to write because we keep updating. So it was the Wealthy Speaker, then the Wealthy Speaker 2.0, and this will be the Wealthy Speaker 3.0. And this is it. We're not doing any more. We're done. The third in the trilogy is done. So I get the book from Amazon. You can order a proof. So I decided, that was another mistake. I got out of the book shipping business. So we had a warehouse that had books in Michigan for me, probably for 5 years. We paid them every month to just hold our books and ship them out as needed. It was ridiculous and way over. It was way more cost than what we needed. So now we've gotten rid of all the books, and we put a big fire sale on, got rid of all the books, and now we're only running everything through Amazon. So I get my proof. Amazon will send you a proof to make sure that you like what you see. And I get the proof, and I'm like, I can't read this book. The fonts are too small.
Uh-oh.
And this is my same team that has done 6 books with me. So I say, team, I don't like the font. What are we going to do? So we make a decision. Okay, we're going to change the font. 11th hour. This is the mistake I made. When you write a book, make sure you print out the pages and compare it to a book that you like so that you can see, exactly how it's going to look. The last book to this book, it was so minuscule. I don't even know if I would have noticed, but I think I would have been able to see that I couldn't quite read this font. And so we went back through and we changed the whole book, and now we're ready to roll again. But anyway, that was a big, good, juicy, recent mistake.
And I would say that same advice could be applied to people building any website. I'd just like to throw that in. If you're building a website, have a look at another website that you really like and check if your fonts compare to that one, because very often people make all kinds of assumptions and then it gets out there and you, wait a minute, this is not, whatever. Anyway, good advice. Yeah.
Yeah, +1 to both of you.
So we're at 37 minutes on this clock here. I think we probably are about to wrap it up. Does anyone have any final questions they wanted to ask?
I'm good.
All good?
I guess, I mean, just as a final question, I mean, you mentioned earlier, Jane, that you that the goal is to like step back and have maybe a little more of the balance, right? But from before the online courses, when you were doing your coaching, to after the online courses with your coaching, like, has there been? Is there a big difference? Like, are you trying to get your clients in a different way, or do more clients come to you personally because they know you through the school? Like, it's just like, is it the same, or is it different?
I think a lot of the people who come to me for private coaching, it's been and has been for the past decade word of mouth. Oh, I was talking to so-and-so who was a fast client of mine, and they said, you need to talk to Jane. And I do have a really good reputation in the industry, and so people will hear my name 2 or 3 times, and then they'll finally come. I think that the course has freed me up personally to do only the things, like we talk about really creating a life where you're doing your 3 core competencies. And so for me, that is writing, selling, and delivering content. And if I'm only doing those things, then I'm putting everything else out to the team, and everything else goes to the school. And I love that that's been it feels to me like I have just created the lifestyle of my, making the perfect lifestyle for me by taking more and more things off my plate. So my team at the school keeps taking more and more, and I keep backing up a step. And so that's the goal. That's the goal for me. I'm not sure if I'm really answering your question exactly the way that you asked it. Am I?
I think that it's all good. I think that you've got the goal of only doing the things that you want to do, and delegating the rest. And it sounds like you're making it work.
Yeah, and I think as entrepreneurs, really deciding and defining what does the perfect life look like to you, and how am I going to get there? And for some people, it means, pulling some people in on your team. That doesn't mean you're hiring a full-time employee. It means that you might use somebody for 5 hours a month who takes something that you hate doing off your plate.
Yeah. Yeah, we often, the 3 of us being freelance web developers, often work with each other for that very purpose, not necessarily things that we hate to do. Maybe sometimes it's something I hate to do. I'll hire Amanda to do it for me. But most often it's things I can't do.
Amanda, go yell at this client and be mean to them.
Oh!
All right.
Yeah, if only I can get someone to do that for me, that'd be great.
Enforcer. That's perfect.
Okay, Jane, well, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it. Where should people go to learn more about you?
Well, actually, the best website is probably speakerlauncher.com. And because that's kind of a clearinghouse for everything that we do over here, speakerlauncher.com is a perfect starting point.
Awesome.
Excellent.
So we'll put it all in the show notes. Sean will put it in the show notes. That's his role.
Yep. I'm the show note guy.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Jane. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, everybody.